Good morning, everyone. Let's start with a comfortable seat. We're going to settle in. I want to introduce a concept from yoga therapy for our consideration during this practice. But we'll just begin with a comfortable seat. You can rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. Come into your upright seat where you feel a kind of alertness, a readiness for your practice, but also no sense of urgency or haste. As you find your inner posture now, imagine the plumb line, sometimes called the central channel, and let your breath slowly reintroduce itself to this plumb line and ask your body to welcome the breath. So we're not kind of coercing it to happen, but rather inviting it to be present. And then encourage your breathing to become smoother, a little bit deeper. If you haven't yet felt the breath drop into the pelvis, see if the low abdomen can release unnecessary tension. Welcome the breath in. A little smoother, deeper, and slightly longer. And keeping your attention inward, we're going to move through the pranayama practice before I introduce the concept this morning. And that's because I want to create the field in each of us where we have less resistance to the concept that I want to talk about. Resistance is understandable, but we're going to do what we can to be in that inner teacher, the indwelling, open, receptive, wise teacher in us. So we're going to begin with the brisk inhale, brisk exhale. And this is to kind of clear the mind from where we came, sleep, to your practice to now. So it's briskly in, briskly out about 10 times, like this. And then inhale to suspend for a moment. And exhale slowly, but completely with deep patience. Move to the end of the exhale and then let yourself relax. And then we're going to repeat that. After each of these little inhale mini suspensions, exhale, notice what your breath does for you. So in the echo of that particular kind of practice, we don't make an effort to breathe. We listen for what comes with the breath. Okay, again, 10 brisk breath cycles. And then inhale, little suspension. And exhale completely, slowly, patiently. Deeply relax. And now the bellows breath. So it's going to be a big inhale, big exhale. You can sense the abdomen expands with inhale, contracts with exhale, and a little bit like you're stoking a fire using a bellows to move air into that flame. So put your focus down below the navel, like in the region of the second chakra and the low abdominal muscles, like this. Now inhale to suspension. Use the low belly, mid belly, and then the upper torso and heart. And then exhale really slowly with deep patience. At the end of the exhale, welcome yourself to profoundly relax. We'll do one more of these kind of blowing off practices. And just to clarify, we're having this practice at 7 a.m. PST. So it's dark, it's the tamasic kind of feeling tone of the morning. We'll have sattva rising soon when the sunrise comes. It'll feel like more of a sattvic time of day. But for some people to come to the practice early, you have to kind of work off the residue of tamas. If you had poor sleep or not enough sleep, or you had a long sleep, but it wasn't restful sleep. So this next blowing off practice is a kind of like waking up experience. We inhale, the hands go up, the fingers spread wide, exhale, pull down. And it's like you're making these two fists. It's the practice of determination. You might think of it as a practice of virya, be a little bit vigorous for the purpose of determination. It goes like this. Three, two, one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, float the arms out to the sides. Rest your hands in your lap. Invite yourself to deeply relax. So deep inside the echo of the practice, you'll be able to locate the breath. Let it completely take care of you. Notice its presence, even in the very subtle form. It's possible that many of us have more tamas in the undertow of our life than we would need if we didn't have, at other times, excessive rajas. And so, we get the chance to be honest with ourselves when we practice yoga. So how much rajas, how much tamas, how much stress or urgency or overactivation or distraction do we have? And then how much do we kind of quell that angst with tamas inducing behaviors? And so we might need the tamas to overcome the rajas here to overcome the tamas. But if we balance those out in our lives, do we get to rest more often in sattva? So those practices we just did use rajasic techniques. Now we're going to do pratiloma pranayamas. You're going to take the first two fingers into the center of your palm. We'll be partially closing the nostrils. We're going to enter this part of the pranayama practice where you get to rest in a kind of silence. I'm hoping that'll happen for you, where we enter the ability to do suspension, both inhale or exhale suspension. So for right now, we're going to partially close the nostrils. Inhale really slowly. Going to take you some time. And at the end of that inhale, little moment of suspension, but then the exhale like a sigh. So partially close the nose, both sides, and breathe in slowly. When you exhale like a sigh, you can relax the right hand back down to your lap. Allow your body to deeply relax. With this breath that we're breathing in, you want to sense in pratiloma that it's the low abdomen, mid-torso, and even up to the heart. You're asking your diaphragm to work a little more elegantly. It has to pull down against the resistance of partially closing the nose. And therefore, the internal suction that you experience with the breath is going to be stronger, because the diaphragm operates in a vacuum inside. So there is an experience of suctioning the breath in. Okay, let's do round number 2. And again, your exhale is like a sigh. Deeply relax your body and also your mind. Okay, last one. Notice the quality of your mind, feeling tone of your body. And then please reach for one of your blocks or a blanket or pillow. I'm going to ask you to put something on the floor in front of you where you know that your head is going to have support. So I'm going to scooch back. When we come forward and down, we're going to be using the forward flexion of the torso and the way the abdominal muscles work there. We're going to be using that to help ourselves. Now exhale longer and slower. At the end of the exhale, we're going to stay down with the head supported on the block or the blanket. And when we're down, the idea there is going to be that we don't breathe in, but we relax the muscles that made the exhale. So whenever you're rising up to your seat or you're upright, you'll have the in-breath. When we're going down, it's going to be out breath, out breath, out breath, out breath. And then the head is totally supported. And that means that the abdominal muscles that made the exhale can also deeply relax. In that relaxation, there's going to be the internal suction that is kind of like your first hint at exhale suspension. Don't make it bigger. Let it just be what it turns out to be there in the musculoskeletal sense. So place your hands at the small of your back. You can clasp the fingers, but relax your shoulders. And then breathing in. With your exhale, come down slowly. You're squeezing the breath out slowly, slowly. And once your head is supported and the exhale has completed, then without inhaling, deeply relax the belly. And then inhale smoothly and rise back up to your seat. That's one round. It's called yoga mudra or yogi mudra. That's one round. And I'm going to ask you to do it 3 times from here. So at your own pace, of course, you're going with your exhale length. You only stay down as long as you're actually comfortable and not breathless. And you'll inhale smoothly and come back up. Okay. Start when you're ready to. You may be approaching your last one right now. We'll just join up in silence at the end of this round. And then you can rest your hands back in your lap. Notice again the quality of your mind. And let's put this block aside and please come to kneeling. And it's okay to shake out your legs at any point that you need to. Everybody has different experiences of their circulation. We don't all have the same age for our joints. I'm kneeling on a cat treat. They must not have finished their treat. Okay, so come to kneeling. Now, in this practice, you may still want to have a block for your head on the floor. The fists are going to go in the lower belly. And so as we're coming down, your fists can encourage the exhale and the muscles that work the exhale down low. And then at the end of the exhale again, we're going to radically relax the muscles that made the exhale, but we will not be inhaling. There's going to be this feeling of suction on the inside. Now, part of why we're doing this, we're talking about this concept in yoga, and specifically yoga and kind of recovering your vitality, recovering from behaviors that you no longer want to do, recovering your knowledge of your real self, not your conditioned self. And one of the things that yoga says about that kind of recovery is that we need to burn the rubbish. Okay, the word rubbish is not mine. Rubbish is a word that comes from when my teachers talk about it. And some of that rubbish is stored in the inner belly here. It's like the undigested food, the undigested emotions. And as those things remain undigested, there's what we call rubbish. And so we can think of also, we have some mental rubbish. We're trying to get rid of that too. So place your fists like this. And let's inhale smoothly while we're up. We're going to exhale, fold forward, same as we just did for yogi mudra. This is called korma mudra or kormasana. Breathe in when you're ready to. And do one more time. When you return up to kneeling or to vajrasana, again, deeply relax your mind. Notice the simplicity and perhaps even the deep subtlety of the breath might seem imperceptible right now. Okay, and now we're going to come up to standing. And then once we finish this particular part of the series, I'll tell you the concept that I want to talk with you about. So come up to stand. You'll want to have a couple blocks. Take a wide stance about the length of one of your legs. I don't know how many blocks you'll need. And to be fair, you won't see me using a block because I'm not very tall and my hamstrings are very limber. But I'm going to want you to have support for your head because part of the way that we resolve rubbish is actually using inverted kind of postures. Okay, so with the legs stable, come over the tops of your thighs, come down, and then arrange your blocks to support your head. So it could be one flat block or a couple of blocks, or as you come down, I do want you to be able to touch the top of your head to the floor, the block, or some of you, when you come forward, the angle of your torso is going to mean that you're touching your hairline or your forehead for the blocks. So based on your capacity, please come down. Don't break your hair clip on the floor on your head. And now energize the legs. And as you're pressing down through your feet, try to also either receive the support of the blocks, if it's your forehead. If it's the top of your head and the angle of the spine is comfortable, you can press into the crown of the skull. With the effort of your legs and your head, let the lower belly now be profoundly breathable. Allow the inhale into the pelvis. Make a long and complete exhale. Think of the breath specifically as a cleansing breath. The inhale brings in fresh vitality. The exhale is taking out the garbage, recycling, and yard debris. Okay, and then inhale and come up to your fingertips. So you're going to be raising the torso horizontal to the floor. Notice when you take the pressure off of your head, what it feels like where you had pressure on your head. And then reach back to clasp your hands, roll the shoulders open, and let's return to the support you have for your head. As you raise the arms up behind you so your hands come away from your torso, if it's difficult to do that with your hands clasped, of course, you can hold a strap between your hands. Energize your legs. Press, if it's the top of your head touching the blocks or touching the floor, press firmly. If it's your hairline or your forehead, press with intention, but with respect for your neck, for everyone. And now with your next inhale, root into your hips, legs, and heels. Raise your torso forward, and please rise up to standing. Release the clasp of your hands, and let's go heels in, toes out, and come down. This is your jazz dance warm-up pose. The gaze can go down on the floor, sort of in front of you. And as you come into your seat here, notice what the breath is able to do. Particularly, you might start getting curious about, on the inhale, can you expand the low belly, mid-torso, and heart? On the exhale, are you able to sense the muscles from the pelvic floor and then just above the pubic bone, kind of whisking in for the exhale towards your sacrum and then up towards the stomach. Okay, press down with your heels, rise up to standing, and let's go toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel into mountain pose. Okay, and then please take a seat. So I'm hoping that I've helped your minds to be receptive to the teaching I want to share with you. And your mind also feels just quiet, receptive, quiet, spacious. So please take a comfortable seat. Notice this possibility of space, or as I said, quietude or receptivity in the mind. You may also sense that in your head or in the whole of the body. So what I'd like to speak about is what I call the third stage of recovery. So in yoga and in the book that I wrote, which is called Hunger, Hope, and Healing, there are 3 stages of development. In yoga, it's tapas, svadhyaya, Isvari-Pranidhana. This is from what we call Kriya Yoga. Starts in the second pada of the Yoga Sutras. In recovering from addiction and or pain or let's say self-harm or self-suppression, all the ways in which we're kind of escalating and numbing ourselves in daily life. The recovery is also tapas, svadhyaya, Isvari-Pranidhana. This means discipline or care, or like having your daily sadhana, creating a routine, a dinacharya, a daily cycle, so daily practice and daily routine and rhythm that stabilizes your mind and your health and vitality. It may also stabilize your relationships. In the second phase, called svadhyaya, we're practicing the deep self-inquiry and also self-empathy. So being able to cultivate the curiosity about, well, how did we get to the place we were where we really needed that tapas? How did we get to the suffering part of our life, where we needed the tapas to come in and really be rescuing us in a way from our own cycles of suffering? How did we get there? What preceded that? And what was even before that? So that in svadhyaya, we're really asking about the human condition. We're also asking about our responsibilities as someone who's come from the tapas phase to the svadhyaya phase. What are my opportunities, my responsibilities? Where can I serve? How can I be of support to humanity so that this thing called the human condition, in its out of balance expression, is less and less pervasive? And the thing called human potential is more and more available, not just to me, but also into my community. Isvari-Pranidhana is the third phase of development and the third phase of recovery. And I refer to it as the surrender that allows us to become that which we've always been. This surrender doesn't make us smaller, though there's a feeling of humility. It's a surrender in which we actually feel the largesse or the enormity of that which we are, that which is coming through us. It's also the practice of surrendering who we thought we had to be or become, and realizing that which we already are. And yoga then is a practice of subtraction, not addition. We're subtracting the residue, the rubbish, the narrative, the story, the conditioning. But this period of Isvari-Pranidhana is also going to need a very specific skill. It's called forgiveness. And you might think of that as self-forgiveness to start with. What are we forgiving ourselves for? We forgive ourselves for having been in pain, and then from that pain, having either caused pain to ourselves or to others. So it's forgiveness for the pain that we've been in, and then the pain that we might have caused as a result of our confusion, our vidya and avidya getting mixed up there. So as a result of avidya, confusion, forgetting, not knowing, and therefore the pain that we experience, we probably caused pain in some places, either to ourselves or to others. So the practice of Isvari-Pranidhana includes the practice of forgiveness. Once we are able to cultivate that kind of self-forgiveness or self-understanding, starting with self-empathy, we can naturally flow into forgiveness towards those who also caused pain to us. But we don't want to go to that forgiveness prematurely, nor do we want to hold that forgiveness at bay forever and ever. As Fred Luskin, he's the author of the book Forgive for Good, from the Stanford University project about forgiveness. He wrote a book called Forgive for Good. He says, you don't want to keep postponing that forgiveness and holding it at bay because we're the one who's then suffering. So this is forgiveness towards ourselves for the avidya that then caused pain. Ultimately, it can become forgiveness towards the pain that others were living in, their ignorance that caused pain to us. So it's like a full cycle then. If I could make a line from this forgiveness, and I start back here with what we internalize, the intergenerational experiences, the conditioning, the confusion, the avidya. Okay, we needed some tapas, sadhana, dinacharya, healthy diet, healthy routine, healthy community. We got to arrive at svadhyaya, and then we move into Isvari-Pranidhana, and it takes a full circle around to this forgiveness for the human condition and a desire to be a vessel for that which is not avidya, not lost in suffering. So with the mind state that we hope we cultivate from pranayama, let's put that now into the body, that it's a full cycle of this kind of recovery, really. So please interlace your fingers, press the heels of the hands down, inhale, raise up, and exhale, press out. Make a big circle with the arm, and just stretch into the possibilities that you imagine for yourself. Reach back and clasp your hands. Set the shoulders back, and if possible, place your knuckles on the floor. Raise your chest and heart up, open your throat. And then exhale and pour yourself forward. So your torso is going to come down. Perhaps your head will touch something, perhaps it won't. Raise the arms up high behind you. And then inhale, come back up to your seat, up to your vertical seat. Exhale, release the clasp of your hand. Okay, let's repeat that. I'm going to put a block for my head to touch so I don't feel too big. You can do the same. Okay, inhale, forward and up. And exhale, press out. Reach back to interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders back. If possible, your knuckles touch the floor. And exhale, pour yourself forward and down. Raise the hands up high behind you as you inhale. And then exhale, squeeze the lower belly to rise up to your seat. Breathe in. Exhale, release the clasp of your hands. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Interlace your fingers the opposite way that you normally do. And inhale, rise up. Exhale, pour forward. Inhale, raise your arms behind you. And exhale, rise up to your seat. Breathe in. Exhale, release your hands. Let's place the right hand on the floor or on a block nearby. Depends on how long your arms are, how tall your torso is. Place your right hand on the floor. Keep the left hip grounded, please. Inhale, raise up through your left arm. Reach past your ear. And to the extent that you can keep your left hip grounded, let the side bend be pretty thorough. You're squeezing the right side of the belly, so the ascending colon. Exhale and tone the abdomen even on the left side. So you can notice across one hip bone to the other, a sense of tone and support. And then exhale and raise back up to center using those deep abdominal muscles. Release your left arm down. Place it on the floor to your left. Sweep your right arm overhead. Let's keep the right hip grounded as you side bend. And the exhale again, you want to feel that sense of horizontal tone across the abdomen from one hip bone to the other. And then exhale, raise back up using the stabilizing muscles deep inside the pelvis. Release your right arm down. Okay, cross the left hand over your right. If you'd like, take a block with you for the right hand to be behind you for the twist. As you're twisting, gaze over your right shoulder. And you can just kind of picture as you're twisting, there it is, the landscape from where you came. And it wasn't all easy and it wasn't all hard. If it were all hard, we probably wouldn't have arrived at this place in a yoga community. So acknowledging what it was, what it has been, where it came from, even the mysteries of what you don't know about it. You can use the breath to kind of initiate our sense of courage or curiosity or possibility, but also on the exhale to release what we may not need to hold on to. And then rotate back around to center. Let's cross the right hand over the left knee. Walk your left hand behind you. I left my block back there. So you can again use a block if the floor is too far away. And this time as we gaze in this direction, we're gazing at what's to come. What are the possibilities? What do we imagine we can contribute to, or at least even chaperone our own life towards? Using a complete breath cycle, when you next exhale, come around to center. Okay, if you need to, you can shake out your legs. Otherwise, just take the legs to upavista konasana. That means the wide leg forward bend. And some of us, if you were sitting on a blanket before, now it feels to me like the blanket's going to just tip my pelvis forward. I have that kind of flexibility. So in some cases, you're going to want to put that blanket aside so that you're sitting firmly and the pelvis is upright. In other cases, you're going to want to put a second blanket because your pelvis may not have a good, doesn't have the bony structure for tipping forward. If you sit up higher on blankets, it might be helpful to bend the knees because otherwise you feel like you might hyperextend the knees. People can have a bony sort of obstruction for the pelvis here, but they might have loose knee joints. So that's why we bend the knees in that case. Okay, raise up through the heart and let's walk forward. As you come forward, it's a kind of pranam position. So gently bow your head, but keep the base of your skull lifted. And let's just imagine the qualities again in the Isvari-Pranidhana phase. It includes surrender, not in any sense of resignation, but a kind of surrender that leads us to the skill of forgiveness. Root down into your hips, your legs, even the backs of your heels. If you've got straight legs, if you've got your knees bent, press into the round part of the heels. And then walk your hands back towards your seat, press down, rise up to sitting, rotate your torso towards your right leg. So twist with the belly and the torso. Try to keep the left hip grounded. So the rotation is in the inner belly. Yep, raise your left arm up. And then exhale and bow over your right leg. Reach in whatever way you're able to. And again, it's got a quality of humility. So we're going to gently bow the head, but keep a lift at the base of the skull. Reach back and down with your left hip. So there is a sense still of that firm ground that you're sitting on. As you explore the tone of the breath here, notice how you might lengthen or make more expansive your inhale. And same with the exhale. Can you lengthen the exhale comfortably while toning the inner belly? And sweep your left arm forward in the same direction as your right foot. Rise up to sitting. As you come to center, you can ask yourself about the degree to which you feel like you are forgivable for not knowing something, for steering the course of your own life in a weird direction, or even that it's forgivable. You may have caused pain or suffering to somebody else, perhaps not even knowing it. So just consider the degree to which right now you could say, I am forgivable. And then we're going to rotate to the left. So turn the lower belly. Raise your right arm up, please. Keep the right hip grounded as well as you're able to. And come over your left leg. Reach to where it's comfortable for your right arm to reach. We can gently bow the head, but also lift the base of the skull. So your pose would not appear to be like a turtle or like a camel. You wouldn't have a humpback. Notice the tone of the breath, the pace of your breath. And then reaching through your right arm, a little bit like an arrow. Raise up as you inhale. And as you come to center, again, the question like, to what degree are you forgivable? And to what degree do you want to really take responsibility? That might lead you to the inner instinct for making amends, or as I spoke about this past weekend, our responsibility for reparations, either at an individual level or at a much bigger level. Let's fold the left knee in. And again, this might be once you fold the leg in. So what happens for me when I fold my leg in, my pelvis does not stay upright at the same level. So I'm going to take a shallow blanket and put that under my sitting bones. Not under my hips that far, but under the sitting bones. So then the pelvis is upright in a natural way. You rotate your torso to your left. Reach your right hand across towards your left thigh. And then we're going to side bend. So often this hand will slip out of position. So take your left hand to support your right hand. And then side bend. So you are squeezing the ascending colon. Side bend and rotate. The rotation is towards the ceiling. And if your right hand will stay where you placed it, then stretch the left arm out past your left ear. And please keep the left hip grounded. So that's why we put the blanket or you have the floor to root into. And let's inhale, rise up. Open your left palm in the direction of this opportunity that you have. And then exhale and twist across to the right. Kind of recognizing again the past from where we came. And then raise back up to your seat, please. Turn to center. Hold your right foot in. You could imagine that you're noticing like the layers of the residue melt away with these poses. And I sometimes think of like when you're actually melting butter in the pan, or if you've ever made ghee, it's melting, and then the golden liquid remains, and we take the milk solids and we use them for something else. So that process, this melting process, is what we're working with right now. Rotate your belly to the right. Bring your left hand across. You can support your left hand with your right hand. Side bend. Now you are squeezing the descending colon. So when we talk about rubbish, it's not just mental rubbish, it's also the physical. So twist to your right, even as you side bend to your left. The pressure of your arm across your abdomen is on purpose there. If your left hand will stay where you have it, you can reach the right arm past your right ear. And with your next inhale, as you raise up, open your right arm. It's like you're greeting where you've come from, what has informed you, and even it's kind of shaped you, right? Though parts that might have been very painful. We're going to rotate across and bow over the left leg again. And then raise up to your seat. Let's come to center. You can keep your leg out or bring it in, it's up to you. And listen again for the feeling of, well, surrender. What degree do you feel you could give into that quality? Allow it to just wash through also forgiveness, amends, reparations, whatever's relevant to you, forgiving yourself for having been in pain or caused pain. And then let's come down to Shavasana for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then we'll have time for meditation. So please come down to Shavasana. For lots of people, Shavasana is essential in now integrating what we have talked through, what we've been working through. So please find your place. Gotta get my mouse to work. There we go. Okay, and Shavasana, please support yourself. You can lie still and make it a very comfortable position. And then please bring your awareness down to the root chakra. Allow yourself to deeply rest. Lam, 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 lam. 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 And bring your awareness to the second chakra. Wam, 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 wam. Wam, 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 wam. Wam, 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 wam. Wam, 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 wam. Wam. And then to the third chakra. Ram, 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 ram. Ram, 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 ram. Ram, 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 ram. Ram, 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 into the second chakra. Wam, 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 wam. Wam. And to the first. Lam, 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 lam. Lam. So when you feel inclined to, you can please join me again for meditation. And allow the meditative silence to be that which burns the seeds of mental habit. We can prevent ourselves from perpetuating pain without knowing that we're doing it. Encourage your mind to stay in the silence, the meditation. Please raise your hands to your heart. You may sing with me if you like. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May we and all beings everywhere, may the whole world, Loka, experience ease, balance, and some measure of happiness. Sama, sta, sukhi, bhava, the inner attitude. May our practice today in some way contribute to that possibility. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.